CVT News, keeping you informed.
Good evening and welcome to the CVT 9 p.m. News Bulletin with me, Mercy Auma. And in the headlines tonight, DUSA leadership at Wrangles, poor performance in Kenyan universities, Kenya, a God-fearing state, and in sports, Daystar City battles Daystar Falcons. Some of the DUSA leaders are at Wrangles following the recent recess trip to Mombasa. The conflict between Johnston and Wendy arose following recent allegations and various rumors that have been spreading around. Our reporter Fiona Kawor has more on the story.
The student leadership body represents the students just as leaders represent the citizens of a country. However, what does it mean when the leaders themselves are at war, are bound by bureaucratic systems, and are corrupt in one way or another?
Recess is a time students take off to relax, meditate, and even travel to various destinations in a bid to rest and catch up with one thing or another. In Daystar University, every academic year, trips to the coastal region are organized by the student leadership body. However, the recent recess trip was a perfect example of the wrangles facing the DUSA leaders. With rumors flying everywhere, I was able to get an exclusive interview with the student president, Johnston Daniel, and the social welfare secretary, Wendy Kibathi, who was in charge of organizing the trip. This was all in a bid to find out what is really happening to the leadership team and what it really means for the students who voted for them as a whole.
Before we did our first poster for recess, we'd given the duty to, as is constitutionally required, to Wendy to find a place for recess. This was done in August, okay? Having done that in August, we expected at the very least, by the time it's coming in October, we'd have a place. Several options were made available to her from other students. She rejected all of them. So by the time we were deciding on Mombasa Beach, it had already taken a while, and we were 3 weeks away from recess. So I accepted that we should go to Mombasa Beach, but I had asked that at least she ought to give the entire government 3 options. She refused to be accountable on 3 options. She insisted on 1 option.
At the end of the day, this is politics, but it is my docket. Whoever I want to work with, according to me, is the best for the students. If anything, I think I am allowed to make my own decisions, as it is my capacity in that as a social welfare.
As I was following up on the details of these wrangles, it became clear that on more than one occasion, personal issues in DUSA have been brought out in public.
She took the step to work with people who formally opposed me during the election. And when she did, the principal things they said about me was, 1, I was interfering with her docket. The second thing was that I was corrupt on myself and looking to make money, and they had their own evidence for the same. And last but not least, that that I had assaulted my social welfare secretary.
You have different opinions, and that's 2 strong personalities. Of course, they're going to be very varying opinions. But yes, it is on the rocks, but we're fixing it. I mean, that's what leaders do. You rise above your personal opinions and you do it for the better of the students.
Outside that, I had come into the knowledge of the fact that there might have been some kind of corruption going on. And I was still trying to figure that out, and I didn't have evidence or facts to back my suspicions. So I kept quiet about it.
And if anything, I think I paid for about 18 students free to come to Mombasa, as they're not able to raise the funds. So about me eating money, I think it's politics, it's a dirty game. Sometimes it gets too dirty. But yes, it's just an allegation, and I think it has no truth to it. If anything, evidence would already have been brought out. But since there's no evidence, I think that's just propaganda. And if anything, it's hurtful.
Under these circumstances, it begs the question, is the government working enough to fulfill its promise to the students? Daystar is a Christian university anchored on the principle of integrity and servant leadership. However, what does it mean to serve as a leader? Be the judge. Fiona Kawor, Reporting for CVT News.
Dismissal due to poor performance in exams is a reality that many students in Kenyan universities face. This raises the question, why the poor performance? Earlier on, I sought the views of students.
There are different reasons. You can't put it under one blanket statement and say students fail exams because, well, they don't read. I mean, I do know of so many students that read for the exams and they still fail. So for me, I think it has to be looked at from probably 4 aspects. I'd say social, physical, spiritual, and also like mental. Where if there's no balance between the 4 spectrums, then it can affect their performance.
I personally think that the reason behind this is because there's a lot of ignorance from the young generation these days. And they feel that it's more important to have fun. They have this YOLO thing that's going on, and so they don't pay much attention to their studies. And as a result, they get into these bad companies, and then all of a sudden their grades go down. In fact, I think most of them we could relate it to like drug and alcohol, things like that. Because they believe when they come to university, they've got freedom and they can do anything that they want.
Formerly, and even currently still called the peer pressure, whereby we want to do things because others do. So as much as I came to school to study, I find individuals who never came to study, they came to probably just enjoy and have a good time at the university. And the moment you join such a clique, definitely, there's not going to be any sort of miracle for you to probably perform as your clique definitely performs strong. I think that's the first. The second, of course, we might also find very bright students in the university setup, a precinct, but the only thing that makes them fail again is probably lack of school fees.
And with that said, the question is, who is to blame? Lydia Okanga, reporting for CVT News.
Is it possible to leave God out of the national anthem? Well, the atheists have filed a petition to remove the word God from the national anthem. Here is more on the story. The atheists have yet again shocked Kenyans following their recent petition to remove God from the national anthem. The society claims that Kenya is a secular state and they also want to be heard. Their recent petition has only managed to get 97 signatures. And to clarify the issue further is Dr. Paul Mbunga, a theologian at Daystar University.
Well, I think it's a serious matter because when we have the word God in our national anthem, we are saying that we recognize God, we acknowledge Him as the origin of this nation, as the sustainer of this nation, as the God in whom we trust. And, you know, as a nation, therefore, we believe in God, we trust in Him, we believe He sustains, and He protects this nation, and this nation is in His hands, now and the future.
Well, up next is sports with Anthony Baki.
Welcome to the Sport Bulletin. My name is Anthony Baki. This weekend in the Kenya University Sports Association, KUSA, Daystar City and Daystar Falcons are set to lock horns in a match that will determine who walks with his head high after 90 minutes of play. Daystar City, the new debutants into the league, are set to make a mark in this first ever derby. In other sports news, in the Champions League, Manchester City are set to play Barcelona on the 1st of November.
It's always here, always special for me to sit here. I spend a lot of time here. And this stadium is part of my life, so I grew up here like a boy. I make all my career like a football player, trainer here. So it's always is a special, will be always a special, and especially when I see people who I like to see.
Harambee Starlets will be playing against Egypt in an international friendly as they prepare for the African Cup of Nations. That's it for sports.
That has been your news bulletin for tonight from CVT. I'm Mercy Auma.
CVT News, keeping you informed.